Good afternoon, everybody. I want to spend a few minutes going over the AVID, give you some pointers. Those of you that have heard Bob Brand's session, I'm going to cover a lot of the same kind of material just to give you some guidelines. We are required by law as agents when involved in a transaction to do a competent visual inspection of the accessible areas. The first page of the document sort of identifies that and outlines that what the California law requires. It also says what it does not require, which we are not required to investigate areas that are not normally accessible, off-site areas, public records or permits, or common areas of planned developments. We aren't required to do an inspection of those areas. If we have information about those areas, as far as disclosure, then obviously we're required to disclose it, but you're not required to investigate those areas if you're not aware of anything that needs to be disclosed. There's also some language here regarding limitations. Obviously, you're not supposed to climb on the roof of the property and whatnot. So that's the first page, sort of the disclosure. All right, when is the AVID supposed to be done? It should be done as soon as possible. As soon as you list the property, should be one of the first things that you do. Do your walk, do a agent's visual walkthrough, and you make notations based on the information you can see, hear, smell. Okay, those are all the senses that we need to be evaluating. If you hear something, if you smell something, if you see something, you need to make sure that you notate that. Because if you touch something and it doesn't seem right, then obviously disclose that as well. So the top part of page 2, you're identifying who is the inspection, what firm is performing the inspection. For us, you'll all notate CBSR Inc. You'll notate the time and date that you did it, what the weather was, sunny, clear, rainy, cold, whatever it is, the weather conditions are outside, you would notate that. And then if there are any other people involved, if there's any other person that's there, let's say the seller's there, or another agent, or anybody, you would notate, or if no one else was there, then there were no other people, you just put none. As you go through, it prompts you for certain areas of the property. And what you're notating is you're notating any deficiencies. You're notating anything that basically a buyer, if they were to say, why didn't you tell me about that? And you were able to see it visually, those are the types of things that you're notating there. You don't, for example, in the living room, put a ceiling fan, or you don't put amenities. All you're notating is defects, and you don't use any descriptive. Okay, you don't, for example, in the entry we have threshold scratched, so the threshold is scratched. We're not going to say what we think about it. We're not saying how badly it's scratched. The fact of the matter is it's scratched. That's all that you're going to put there. The front door is scratched and does not close solidly. That is a bit descriptive, but in that particular case, I think you're okay. It's not, you know, it probably would be appropriate. In the living room, I've got carpet stained. Okay, I'm not talking about how it's stained or what stained it. It's not a wine stain. It's just a stain. Okay, and that's all you're going to notate there. Cracks noted in drywall. If there are spots, if there are cracks, you don't count the cracks and say there are 10 cracks there. You just note that there are cracks. Okay, you saw cracks, they're there. Okay, as I said before, you're not putting amenities. And if, for example, there's nothing to note, okay, looks like I got a bunch of typos here. I don't know what's going on. I was having trouble with my WinForms earlier. As you go through each of the rooms, you label them. So for example, other rooms, family room, if there's nothing to note, then you write nothing noted. But what that does is that identifies the fact that you actually did inspect it. If a problem arises down the road and you don't note the family room, or you don't say nothing noted, they don't know whether or not you inspected it or not. It's the first thing that the attorney is going to ask you, well, how do we know you were there? How do we know that you didn't see anything in that particular room? Your obligation is to inspect all the areas of the house. So it's important for you to use those other room sections and identify the other areas of the house. And if there's nothing to note, then you just simply say nothing noted. You don't put there's a ceiling fan or light fixture or fireplace or whatever. I mean, it's not a place where you list amenities. Okay, it's only defects. And if there aren't any defects, if you don't see anything, then you say nothing noted. Okay. Office area, loose carpet, doorknob missing. Um, as you go down through this, this is a 2-bedroom house. There isn't a third bedroom. So again, don't leave it blank. Say NA. Okay. Say it's not applicable, does not apply if it isn't there, if that amenity isn't part of the house. Same thing. There's not a third bathroom. So again, we have NA. Other rooms, workshop. You can see here, I noted musty smell, right? So we get our sense of smell into the equation. If you notice something that doesn't smell right, wiring exposed, missing electrical plate covers, these are all defects that the buyer should be aware of. As we go down further, I've got laundry area. Again, nothing noted is the appropriate response. And then there are no other areas of the house. So there are no other rooms. I said NA, NA, NA. If you need to be more descriptive, or if there's additional rooms that you can't cover with these other with the provided spaces, then you would check the addendum, and then you could use a standard addendum to add to your additional disclosure if it's a larger home or something like that. In the garage, I noted cracks noted under the garage floor, stains noted on the garage floor, stains noted on the walls, musty smell noted, and then I heard a buzzing sound. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter what it was. I noted the fact that there was a buzzing sound. That's going to raise the attention that someone who is wanting to inspect the property or the buyer is going to have the ability to know that there was a buzzing sound when I was there doing my inspection, and they can look into that. On the exterior, dirt on the siding, the stain was worn on the decks and railings. I also noted under additional observed items that there was a barking dog next door, and there was an exposed pipe that was coming out of the ground, and it was dripping water. So I thought those were important things. They weren't normal. They seemed to be, they were things that I wanted to draw attention to. So again, rules of thumb for your AVID, you want to do it as soon as possible. Okay, once it's done, it's done. The only entries that you put into it are items that are defects. Don't put amenities, and make sure that you're addressing each section. And if it doesn't apply, then make sure that you say that it doesn't apply, so that you are giving a complete document to the other side, so that there won't be any question whether or not you actually did a complete inspection. And then down below, you're going to go ahead and sign it. This particular case, I listed me as the listing broker and the agent representing the buyer, and you would end up signing that once it's a complete document. So that is the AVID. It's important that we complete this document completely and carefully, and make sure that we do a diligent inspection. I'm noticing a lot of documents that have information in them that they shouldn't have. And I'm also noticing documents that have a lot of nothing noted. Okay. In other words, it's almost as if you're not looking for things. So please make sure that if there are defects there, that you observe those and you make a notation in the document. If you have any questions, come in and see me on it. Thank you, guys.